to this episode of The Coach's Couch here on Inspired Coach Podcast. Well, right now here at Beautiful You, we are in the very, very thick of our 10th birthday, decade-long celebration. And you know, I can hardly believe it actually, but I've got to stop saying that. I keep saying that I can't believe that we're 10 years old, a decade old, such a special time, because truly, while there have been many, many achievements and challenges and waters under the bridge and all of those kinds of things over the last 10 years, it has been such a joy, and it feels like it's gone so quickly that in many ways, it just feels as though we started last year. I'm not going to say last week, but it certainly doesn't feel like 10 years ago. You know, the world was a very different place 10 years ago. When we think about what has happened globally in so many different ways over the last 10 years, it just feels extraordinary to think that the Beautiful You Coaching Academy is that old. And I'm very proud of that fact, because there are a lot of businesses that begin in the personal development industry and do not have the longevity that we do. And so that's something that I'm very proud and grateful for. And so in today's episode on the couch, I am going to be sharing with you what I feel to be the 5 most impactful Beautiful You Coaching Academy moments of the decade. Now, it is probably not going to come as any surprise to you at all that this was not easy. When I sat down to go through all of the possible top 5 moments that I could have chosen over this decade that have been the most special, the most impactful, it was not easy to whittle it down to these ones that I'm going to share with you today. And these are just mine personally. I'm sure that if we were to ask other members of the team, they may have different ones that they might like to share. If I was to ask a very specific certified coach or alumni member or trainee right now, they would probably have something very different as well. I suppose I have the unique perspective of having been here for the full 10 years. And the only other people that really have had that are my husband, Glenn, who is our general operations manager and works with us here at the Academy. And also those people who were a part, at least once we were public facing, of the pilot group that first took this course more than 10 years ago now. And that's my number 1 that I'm going to start with. So in no particular order, it's not, a countdown of any kind, but here are my top 5 moments. And I'm going to begin with that pilot group. They really are a highlight for me over the last 10 years. They were an incredibly brave group of human beings who decided to take a leap of faith and sign up to do the Beautiful You life coaching course before we were accredited with the ICF, the International Coaching Federation, because a course cannot be accredited with the ICF until it has run at least once. And so that was something that was dear to my heart and something I wanted us to achieve. And we did achieve that certification from the very first course that we ran, which was amazing. This is not the case for every course out there. And so I'm very proud of the fact that we did that. And it was that pilot group that made the decision to say yes and train and study with us, an incredible group of 16 people that believed in me, that believed in our model and theory of feeling-based goal setting, holistic, seeing somebody as a whole, amazing human being, understanding that the personal development journey of the coach is just as important as the client. And I'm so grateful to every single one of them for being really brave and saying yes to this, to train to become a Beautiful You coach all those years ago, when I was still I mean, I'm always learning, always, but very, very much in learning stages back then. It was a true pilot, let me tell you. It was a true pilot. Mistakes were made. Things had to change. There were things that were incredible. There were things that had to shift. There were things that needed to be improved. And they have been. And they were from the very next course and then all courses since then. And it is such an incredible thrill for me to see that there are many coaches from that pilot group that are still coaching and still working in the personal development industry more than 10 years later. Two of them in Johanna Parker and Jade McKenzie from that group are still trainers with us, not just coaches, but now trainers with us as well. And they're a very special group of people that will always have a part of my heart for being so brave and saying yes to beautiful you and yes to me before we really had the runs on the board and before they probably had the right to. But they did. They obviously saw something in us that was very special and that they wanted to be a part of. And so that is just a real highlight moment for me over the last 10 years. The next highlight that comes up for me is our inspiration days. They are all in their own way an incredible highlight, but I must give very special mention to the first inspiration day that we ever held, and that was in New York City. Yep, we went big. We went beautiful and big for the very, very first one of those that we ever had. And, sometimes people ask me, they say, why, Julie, do you have these days as a part of the course? And I'm going to be honest and tell you it's pure selfishness in truth on my behalf, because I absolutely love in-person connection. Connection is one of my core values, and with that community, I see them as very interchangeable. And I wanted to be able to connect and be in community with our trainees and coaches from all around the world. And I knew that that was something that was not necessarily going to be able to happen if every day was held in Australia. And that is why we have made the commitment to travel as much as we can. Obviously, in recent times, that was deeply impacted by COVID and the pandemic, which really grounded us. And I'm going to talk about that here on the couch in a little moment. But just going to New York City that very first time, and it's like, okay, we're going to start with a bang here. And that day was glorious. We had a beautiful venue, amazing speakers. People travelled from all over the world, throughout the USA, North America, UK, Europe, and Australia and New Zealand to be with us. And it was just the most glorious day. When I look back and think about it, there is parts of me that knows that my heart was in my throat throughout the whole day, and that it was just a pivotal life and business moment for me to see everyone coming together in the early stages of Beautiful You. We were only about 18 months in by that stage, just our second or third course I think it was, when this was happening, and it was just incredible. And even I have this memory, I feel it inside my heart, and I can see it so clearly inside my mind, of after the day was over, walking down this very cute cobblestoned little laneway it was strewn with fairy lights and streamers, to a little New York bar where we all gathered and had celebratory drinks and chats afterwards, which, if you've ever been to one of our inspiration days, you will know is often the best part of the day, where the deepest connection happens. It was a very, very special day. And since then, all of our inspiration days are 100% a highlight for me. We've been to Vancouver, Paris, London, Sydney, Ubud, Auckland, many other cities throughout Australia. And it has just been so beautiful every single time we get to be in community with each other. I love it so much and can't wait for so much more. So I mentioned, and this feeds into my third point previously about the pandemic, 2020, 21, leading into 2022 as well. And I do want to give a special mention, even though, of course, there are many things about that time for every single one of us throughout the world. None of us were untouched from it in some way or another. About the courses that took place for us during that pandemic time. It was, of course, an incredibly challenging time. And people were experiencing various forms of lockdowns and restrictions throughout the world. And in some instances, we know, because we know this was happening to us personally as your trainers, but also for many of you who studied with us throughout that time, that we were the only people outside of whomever might have been in your family or friend's household that you had contact with online over many, many months. And that was certainly the case for me, that apart from my husband, who I lived with, we couldn't even see our stepdaughter, his daughter, who lived some way away from us because of the lockdowns and restrictions. And it was the beautiful You life coaching courses that were taking place during that time that provided a touchstone for me online. And I know that we did that for each other. And those courses had the unfortunate experience, of course, of not being able to come together in person because we could not travel, we could not gather together. And we've had makeup days since then. But of course, it's not the same. It's never the same as when you are actually undertaking the training at that time. And so I just want to give a huge loving shout out to every single one of you if you trained with us during the pandemic. On the one hand, we were able to create for each other this extraordinarily cozy, tight, very, very caring, amazingly close experience with each other, which was beautiful and I know positively impacted your learning. But there were many, many other things that were going on at that time that made life really difficult, and just a huge cheer and shout out and thank you. So I know it might sound strange to say that that was a highlight. The pandemic has certainly not been a highlight of mine over the last 10 years, but the way that I saw our trainees and community come together during that time certainly was. So I've got 2 more things to share with you as my top 5 most impactful Beautiful You moments of the decade. And again, oh gosh, as I'm saying these, I'm thinking of so many more that I could share, but I'm going to stick with the 5. And that is about our recent evolvement over the last 2 years in particular of our course being richer, deeper, more expansive, and very, very now focused in an even greater way on the art and craft of coaching skills, deeper space holding, and sacred coaching leadership. I am so proud of this evolution of ours. And of course, we know things now from that we didn't know 10 years ago, even 8 years ago or 5 years ago. And of course, the course is not the same as it was in the pilot, certainly not, or in the first couple of years or even 5 years ago. For us to be delivering the very best, most cutting edge, trauma-informed, ICF certified, brilliant coaching course that we can, we must constantly be learning, unlearning, researching, and making this course better. And that is something that we are committed to doing all the time, so it remains incredibly current and incredibly relevant and turning out the very best life coaches that we can be. And, you know, it's just something that's so important to us. And it's one of the reasons why the course has moved into a space where materials are now completely digital and available online. And that's because they're being superseded all the time. There are new books that come out. There is new research. There are new and better ways of working with people in areas of mindset, somatics, being trauma informed, and so many business practices and so many other things. And we want to make sure that our course remains as up to date and relevant as it possibly can. That is not possible with printed materials because they literally can become out of date so quickly. We know that sometimes it can feel so beautiful to have a printed book in your hands, and some people do print them, which we think is lovely, but we're always updating them for you to make sure they have the most relevant and amazing information and learning, research and statistics in them that we can. And we're committed to continuing to bring this to all alumni as well. So the major changes that the course has undergone within the last 18 months or so in particular, we are just now coming to the end of the very first course from July 2023, having completed that course. And that's been a phenomenal experience, an incredible group of people that have gone through that training. And we now know what works. We now know what we need to tweak and improve. And all of our alumni are very soon, within the coming months, about to get access to new videos, updated materials. Even if you trained with us literally 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago at no cost, that is all coming to you very soon. And we can't wait for you to experience that. I absolutely love the updates that we have made. I think the course is now just even better than it ever was, and something I'm so proud of. And so we're hoping that you're all loving it. And for those of you who are thinking of joining us in the future, get ready. We've got some amazing things coming and waiting for you. And so this brings me to my final highlight, final most impactful, beautiful you moments of the decade. And that is truly now for me, having seen and been witness to more than 2,500 graduates of this course from all corners of the globe receive their certificates either in person, or you've lovingly shared them with us via a photograph or a video. You know, to see you receive those certificates for all of your hard work, your effort, your energy, your patience, your passion that you've put into your life coaching studies. It is a joy that never ever gets old for me. And I think the thing that just really lights my heart about seeing you with your graduation certificates, whether you pick them up in person at an inspiration day or you share those online, is just to know that it's just the beginning for you. That's the thing. I know sometimes when a course comes to an end and you're receiving a certificate, you think, oh, this is the end of this course. This is the end of this particular chapter. And yes, it is in a way, but also it is just the beginning. And that's something that makes me so incredibly excited for absolutely everybody when they get those certificates. It is just so beautiful. And I never ever tire of it. I never tire of having photographs with you all with your certificates, of seeing you hold them up and just knowing all of the heart and effort and energy that you have put into them. So there we go. My top 5 most memorable and impactful moments of beautiful you over the past decade. There could have been so many more that I could have shared with you, but those were the ones that when I tuned into my heart came through first. And so I just trusted my intuition with that to share them with you. I want to say thank you so much that if you have been a small, a medium, a big part of this journey over the past 10 years, thank you so much for whatever role you may have played in the Beautiful You Coaching Academy over the past decade. If you're one of our OGs, this is your birthday too. And in fact, it's all our birthdays for those of you who are trainees, alumni, and even those of you who are thinking about training with us in the future, are listeners of the Priestess podcast. Some of you have come through to the Academy through that, my personal podcast, or here at Inspired Coach podcast as well. I know that some of you have found us through the airwaves like that. Others of you have come to us through people who have already studied with us before. Some of you have been clients of our coaches and have gone on to study with us, or may be thinking about doing that now. Whatever way you might have come to us, be thinking about training with us, or you're part of the Beautiful You Coaching Academy community, my heart and gratitude rests with you as we are right in the middle of this incredibly beautiful celebratory month. You know, joy, beauty, and connection are my core values, and I just feel so grateful that this academy allows me to bring those to life every single day. They're not possible in any way without all of you. And so thank you so much for being a part of this community as a listener, as a follower, as a trainee, as a coach, as a trainer, or as a member of Team Beautiful. Thank you for helping us to make this academy what it has become over the past 10 years.